Mike, turn your games down.
Time for another spooky movie episode. I'm Mike Albertin, and who's the first victim with me tonight?
I'm Tiffany Albertin, and that's all I got.
And this is Kenneth Sanity, running towards death, as always.
Yes.
And so we're here to talk about a movie I didn't know existed and never thought would be on this podcast, but the poster made me do it.
How many times are you
I'm going to say it a lot, and it's going to get a lot worse probably next time as we continue. So for those that don't know, depending on how many episodes you listen to, at some point, I think last year, we bought a 100 movie horror poster where we scratched off, and this was on the poster. We're here to talk about The Seventh Victim, directed by Mark Robson, that came out in 1943.
In black and white.
This is, for the record, the oldest movie I've ever seen. 100%.
Fantastic.
I've seen a couple Buster Keaton movies.
No, the oldest I saw before this probably would have been like Psycho, Birds, Night of the Living Dead. I forget whenever that first one is. Those are some of the but I have never seen anything in the 40s.
Well, yay,
Wonderful.
we popped your cherry.
Fantastic. Welcome to older filmmaking where things were a lot more strange.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is fair. And apparently I was watching a YouTube video that explains some of this movie. I think it's safe to say, I assume none of us have a history with this film, correct?
No, much like you, I had never heard of it. I've never seen it.
That kind of shocks me, though. You're not an older horror movie type of guy?
I am. I just, this one never really jumped out at me.
No, it didn't when I watched it either.
Like, it was never a movie that was brought to my attention. The producer, Val Lewton, has produced some other great classic horror movies, like Cat People, a movie that this is oddly a prequel to.
This movie?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the same director made like a bunch of really cheap
Producer.
I think, yeah, they've made a bunch of cheap horror movies. This was low. It was like, apparently from the YouTube video, they didn't even choose a name. The studio said, "Here's a name, go make a movie."
Yeah, they didn't give them scripts.
Like,
They didn't
based
give
off
them.
the name, they made the movie based off the name?
Yeah,
It's awful.
yeah.
It's really
That's the way RKO did it, though. RKO is a weird ass studio.
Yeah, there's I Walked with a Zombie. There's Cat People, and I think there's the Leopard Man.
Yep, the Leopard Man.
Those sound like classic.
Then you also got Bedlam, the Body Snatcher. There's like a bunch of better ones than this. I'm not saying this is bad. I'm not. It's just those are more renowned, if that makes sense. Like you say,
That's fair.
let's talk about the Body Snatcher starring Boris Karloff. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, that one. Yeah. But
Now let's talk about The Seventh Victim with, I forget her name. Who was the actress in this?
which one? There's a couple.
Recognize
The one that,
Mary.
Jean Brooks.
Mary?
No, Jean
Jean
Brooks
Brooks.
is Mary, right?
I thought that's
No, Jean Brooks is Jacqueline.
Okay.
Kim Hunter is Mary.
All right.
That was an awful hairdo Jacqueline had. I couldn't get over it. It was
It
awful.
was 1943.
I know, but I also think it was a wig, and it was a very awful wig. as
It
well.
was 1943.
We still have awful wigs.
Yeah, but that tells you how they're bad now.
They were worse then. So you said, okay, enough about the wigs. What
Ken,
about
did you
that
write
movie?
down a plot summary for this?
Nope, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway.
All right, please.
Do it.
All right. Mary's sister is missing. Mary leaves her comfortable world of private school and heads to New York City in order to find her missing sister, Jacqueline. Along the way, we find a somewhat corrupted cosmetics factory, a restaurant named after a very famous Italian poet, and, like you find in New York all the time, a satanic cult.
Okay, that was really good.
They always are.
Your voice just cracks me up.
So I was watching a video before this recording, and they had said that this is like the first psychological horror movie.
That is possible. Like, this doesn't really lean on horror.
No,
I would say a psychological thriller.
I mean it's
Well-
No?
it's classified as horror.
I mean-
we're used to blood and guts.
Oh, we'll get that later.
People chopping off arms.
And see, that's the thing. Like, this doesn't have any of that. This is all moodiness and atmosphere and very subtle storytelling.
Well, you call it moodiness and atmosphere.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Look at those shadows are deep enough to fall into.
Right.
Like
I mean,
this.
It goes for a theme, and I kind of appreciate it. I watched a YouTube video before this that made me appreciate the film more than I did watching it myself.
I should have did that.
Yes, but
Well, you didn't suggest it.
I did not. It's fine. I figured I could just tell you all about it.
Okay, go ahead. I'd rather hear Ken. Ken, go ahead.
Hey, I did like it when that one woman was like, extra murder, when she saw in the paper, and I'm like...
That was the weirdest thing.
I mean...
You get extra murder on the side?
But I feel like it's a weird thing to us, because we're watching this 80 years later. And we're like, somebody's selling the newspaper. What do they think this is, the 2005?
Yeah, but don't they usually go extra, extra? Not extra murder. Extra.
Well, she's like, I'm an extra, so I'll just say extra.
Well, the reason they said extra back in the days was they would make a printing, and then if something big happened, they would do another quick printing, which was the extra edition.
Oh.
I never knew that.
We do now.
Huh, I just thought it was just something they said, extra, extra, read all about it.
Well, I mean, it was something they said, but it was something they said for a reason.
Like Lady Whistle Down.
And in this one, it's actually funny because that extra murder newspaper story thinks that, oh no, something's happened to Mary's sister Jacqueline. No, it's an unrelated murder.
Oh.
It's not related to this film at all.
Oh,
so
really?
yes, it is an extra murder.
That's funny.
I don't even know if they planned that. I just thought it was funny.
I bet you she just ad-libbed that.
I mean, she probably was an extra. I mean, that's how I looked at it. I was like, okay.
Extras get lines?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sure.
But I mean, I doubt she was getting paid a whole lot. So I did the inflation calculator. In this movie, there's at one point when somebody asked this guy for $100, and in today's money, that's over $2,000.
Okay, so then theoretically that there's a private detective who was looking for Mary's sister at one point. Oh gosh, what was his name?
Yeah, the guy that ends up, don't go, I found a locked door, we're going to go there at night.
Yeah.
And then he gets stabbed,
and then he didn't want to go down the hall.
But you couldn't see anything because it's night, because of the way they filmed the movie, and they have no money. They just have him holding his stomach and walking, and he just collapsed.
It was black and white. They could have did a little chocolate syrup.
I don't think they had the money for that.
Like Psycho did.
When I was watching,
they would just do these quick.
The guy made 2 other movies in the same year that this came out.
God, no.
Yeah, they shot this in like 26 days.
For $100,000.
Well, there wasn't, what is that in today's?
A decent amount of money, but...
It took them that much in the 40s to shoot that?
Yeah, I guess.
Did they pay the actors that much?
I doubt it.
No, but they actually made their sets from scratch.
Oh, that makes much more sense.
No CG, none of that nonsense. They would actually build buildings.
I know, but I'm pretty sure Nightmare on Elm Street was made for less.
No.
Okay, fine.
No, I can promise you that.
That's still in the 80s. Like, this is the 40s.
Yeah, but there's also possible they used the same set for other things, so maybe they spent more money on this, but... And budget for Nightmare on Elm Street, $1.1 million.
Okay, fine.
So.
Y'all are right. I hate you.
All right.
I love Ken. I don't like you.
I mean, this movie, like, it was eerie. One thing that did make me chuckle, that it was only a chuckle for me, because when we scratch off the poster, it shows a little hangman's noose.
Yep.
And when we get to the movie, because eventually Mary goes and leaves her school, goes to New York, finds this room that her sister has been renting, but they changed the locks and nobody's been there, but she pays the rent.
Then how did they get in if they changed the locks?
I'm assuming changed the lock after they...
He just jimmied it?
That is
how the guy got in?
Yeah.
Good
He broke
question.
He just broke the lock. Well, he opened it, broke it, unlocked it. They do that a couple times in the movie. The private eye had like a skeleton key, pulls out and unlocks something. I guess it was the 40s. Maybe locks were easier to break.
Or they really had skeleton keys for it.
They did. They still do.
For some things.
It's just we don't have the locks to have them usually.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like how eerie they make it. Just the random, just a chair, an empty room, and a noose.
Yeah.
It is very eerie to be like, oh, she was just happy to have this room, to know that if she wanted to kill herself, she could just go hang herself. Like what you find out later. And it's very eerie the way they do it.
It's privacy, okay? Yes.
Look, we all got private rooms where we do our own private things. And some people just sit in a chair and contemplate a noose. By the way, this is a great time for a content warning. Folks, we're going to be talking about suicide in this episode. It is not terribly subtle throughout this movie, and we have to talk about it if we're going to talk about this movie. So please, if this upsets you, stop the episode. We won't be upset. We don't want to hurt anybody at all.
I also already have the download too, so I'm completely content if you need to move on. So, hey. No, I do care. But, I mean...
I already got to download. You're stupid.
Gotta lighten the mood with stupid humor. That's what I live for.
Okay, I guess so.
You know this.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So, it was interesting how they took it and how this movie really doesn't show anything, but it tries to convey horror. And I'm assuming in 1943, this would have been scarier in a movie. I mean, to us, we're like, this is nothing. But we come from 80 years in the future.
It's all about the suspense.
Yeah.
The unknowing.
This movie wasn't bad. I have watched worse movies on this podcast, or for this podcast.
For me, it was too slow moving.
It was awfully slow, but I think, this movie probably... There's a lot of... This is an important movie. I will say that flat out right now. I get it. I get why people talk so positively about this movie.
And who would have thought that you would actually you would watch it, huh? Because of a poster told you to.
I had never even read an article about this. Nothing. I knew nothing about this going into it.
Me neither. I didn't know.
Yep. I just once we scratch it off, I just look. Can I buy this anywhere? That was my first thing.
And fortunately, we were able to find it. But
it's also on YouTube, I think. But I got it on Amazon.
No.
Oh, it's not on YouTube.
No. I checked. That was the first place I checked.
Hey, people put smuggle movies on all the time on YouTube somehow.
Do you know why this isn't on YouTube, though?
No. You're going to tell us, though.
I am going to tell you. This movie, along with I Walked as a Zombie, is a Criterion Collection release.
Oh. Huh. That's interesting.
So
Criterion means that they're important, famous movies, correct?
Well, that's a company that releases them.
Okay, Criterion. But that's the idea of what they do.
Yeah, they make DVDs and Blu-rays of important movies, and they add special features in commentaries and articles, and they're the film snob. These are the important movies. This is a company that's telling you that these are important movies. It's at this point I would like to remind everybody that Criterion did release DVDs of The Rock and Armageddon in the Criterion Collection. Yes.
Yes.
I've still never seen that movie.
Oh, so good. So good.
I've seen part of it.
A lot of people think I like it.
I know you like it. I've seen the ending of it. I thought it was stupid too, but
I mean the concept's a little stupid, but
I also don't like Aerosmith, so that doesn't help the situation.
Oh, okay.
How dare you?
All right.
So I want to recontextualize this movie for you guys. The satanic cult doesn't really mean anything in this movie, which is wild. This movie is all about Jacqueline's battle with depression.
That makes so much
That does make sense. I mean...
See, leave it to Ken to explain it to us.
The satanic cult I thought was cool that they have that, and I was thinking to myself, was that something that would have been considered scarier?
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm like, I actually would rather have that than some of the things that we have now. So,
we're used to the satanic church protesting asshole churches, helping abortion clinics. We're used to the good guys satanic people. But back in the day, satanic worship was a much more frightening thing. You got to remember, this is before Rosemary's Baby even.
Never seen that either.
I should put it on.
Oh, that's definitely on the poster.
Oh, 100%. That's a good classic movie.
But the funny thing, and this is where I was shocked, because there was a point during this movie where I actually had to pause it and run to my bookcase. Because the satanic cult in this specifically are Paladists. And I was like, I know that name. So I went to my bookcase and I grabbed my book, The Devil in the 19th Century. This is a book that was supposedly written by a Dr. Bataille, French doctor, who alleged that Paladists were Satanists that had infiltrated the Freemasons. And this was a big thing back in the late 1800s, like 1891. Like, this was a whole thing. There was books on this. There were articles. The Catholic Church was freaking out about it.
I believe that.
So this would have made sense to somebody at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like somebody would have known that, the Palladists. But here's the thing about the Palladists. Dr. Leo Taxil, an author, which was the pen name of Marie-Joseph Gabriel Antoine Jogan Pages, French author.
Impressive.
It was all a hoax. The entire Palladist thing with the Freemasons and the Catholic Church, it was all a hoax.
For what reason?
Sell a book?
Because he could.
Because he could.
Hey, some people start a religion
doing it because there was money in it.
I mean, that's kind of what L. Ron Hubbard did. How can I avoid taxes? Well, I can make a religion. Sorry.
Damn it, that does work too.
Like, I backed a Kickstarter for this book. I just got it this year in my grubby little hands. Because it was the first, most accurate English translation of this book. So I was like, shit, yeah, I'm going to get that. Now, the interesting thing is that this is a hoax that has lived on. You know those little tracts that you would get from the religious people?
You mean they give you like little pamphlets?
Little pamphlets, and they're usually comic book stories and shit like that.
I usually just throw them away, but yeah.
Some of the stuff that came up in Taxil's book is cited in those religious tracts.
Of course it is.
That's interesting.
Well, I mean, they can't, it was factual to them, or at least it was enough to get people talking. That's all they're trying to do is, put fear in you.
Mm-hmm. I always want to put fear.
So when I heard Paladins, I was overjoyed.
That is cool. I had figured it was just some random thing they made for this movie. And they're like, okay, the symbol's cool. We'll just say this, and it's cool that it's actually based on something else.
Yeah, it's actually from history.
That is
Which
cool.
It's pretty awesome. Like, they didn't have to do that, but somebody thought they were being funny because that hoax was exposed in the early part of the 1910s, or the before 1910s. So
okay, and also it would be something that would still be relevant in 1940 versus us in 2024.
Right.
I mean, how many people have that book on their shelf that went, "Oh, I know what that is," and ran over to it?
Actually, quite a lot of people backed this Kickstarter. So,
how many people have watched this movie and then bought the book?
Yeah, doubtful. I did it completely on accident, and I gotta tell you, I was thrilled.
I mean, I was trying to look at this very much from a historical perspective when watching this movie, and just trying to appreciate it for what it was and the way they filmed things, and just the way that what they're portraying would seem normal in the 40s. To me, it's just so bizarre. And I thought that was cool.
Bizarre movie.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
It didn't.
I didn't understand what was happening. The plot of Mary looking for her sister, okay. At one point, she sees her sister, she shush her, and then disappears. And I'm just like, why did you even have her here? And time passes in this movie, but
they don't tell you.
No, the movie has nothing to say 6 months later. There's not even little clues.
Like the weather. And
nothing. You just have to when he's like, I love her. It's like, you just met her yesterday in my world, but apparently it's been weeks or months. So
you gotta follow along there.
So Robson and his editor removed 4 substantial scenes from the final cut, including an extended conclusion. So this
extended conclusion.
Not going to happen.
I wonder if that was to dodge ratings or something, why they don't show what happens to her.
Nope. Length. Well,
I almost
just not show what happens with her? Yes, absolutely.
I'm okay with it because it's subtle and that's part of its own horror.
In my mind, she just kicked over the chair in anger and she's living.
No.
No. God, dash my hopes right there again.
Yeah, she's dead.
I mean, she wanted to die. That's what what Ken had mentioned earlier. The movie is just about her depression, and where she makes a comment when the cult wants her to kill herself. She's like, was it you talk about suicide all the time? She's like, yes, but on my time.
Yeah,
my terms.
Yeah.
Not you trying to force me to drink poison.
That's not really suicide, that's murder.
Plus, I don't know. I feel like poison would also be a much different way to go than being hung.
Well,
I'm not sure what would be worse.
Depends on the poison.
It depends on the poison. It depends on how high you up for the rope. Like, there are so many things to consider.
Yeah, good point. Because if you don't break your neck, you're going to be just struggling for a bit. So
Yeah,
and if the poison is
that's going to suck.
If the poison is not a very well, depending on how dense the poison is or what you're drinking, is either you're going to fall asleep and die, or you're going to be choking and having a very terrible, however long it takes.
Terrible death.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be a fun time either way. I want to talk about the length of this movie because we haven't talked about this. At 71 minutes, this is the shortest movie we've covered on the show.
I think so. As a full
I think so.
Yeah. Like, this is the shortest feature-length film that we have covered. Like, Batman Mask of the Phantasm is longer than this.
Better movie, too, but here nor there. No, I was surprised how short this film was. I was not expecting that when I looked it up. I'm like, wow.
No, I watched this morning when I woke up it was over before I finished my coffee.
Did you heat up your coffee and put it back in the microwave and then, keep doing that over and over again?
No.
Okay.
That's what his mom.
Yeah, my mother will pour the coffee in. It's too hot. Let it sit.
It's too cold. Then heats it up.
And then it's too hot again, and it goes through the whole process.
For hours.
No.
You could do this for hours.
Nope.
Nope, me neither.
I drink it fresh.
Yeah, same.
But I also have a really big coffee cup.
I would hope so. If it took you an hour to drink your coffee.
Yeah.
Maybe he just likes to savor it.
It's like 3 normal cups worth of coffee.
I hope you only have one of those.
I do.
Okay, good.
That's the only caffeine I drink for the day, is just that 1 cup of coffee.
Good. I wish I could do the same thing. But
You don't drink coffee.
no, but I still drink enough caffeine.
Okay.
Just comes in a water bottle.
Something else that was pretty wild for the time about this movie, and something that honestly was shocking when this would have came out, was the homoerotic undertones.
You mean like when the one woman's like, we're intimate?
Yeah.
I don't think it had any. I'm assuming it didn't mean what it sounded like.
Oh, it did.
Oh, in 1943?
In 1943.
We were intimate. You would have fun with us.
I mean, wasn't that like hugely
illegal and death-worthy? Yeah.
Because I know what happened to God. What the fuck is his name? The guy that helped build the thing that breaks the code for the Germans in World War II.
Alan Turing.
Alan Turing. Yeah, I know what happens to him. But like they were, different country, but they were not friendly.
No.
Places still are not.
No. And so to have that in there, like, okay, you could say it's just gals being pals, but look at it with a critical eye. You know what's up. And that haircut, no. No.
That is cool that they put that in there. Like, I just thought it was like the terms were different because it's, again, 80 years that I'm coming from, but that is cool that they put that in there in a time where that would not be okay.
I'm glad he believes you, Ken, because he definitely didn't believe me.
I did not know.
Asshole.
But, wait, 2 people have said it, so now I trust it.
Yeah, no, it was Ken said it, so I trust it because he knows more about movies than
you
apparently
can just
Tiffany does.
Watch it though, like watch how Francis is freaking out at the end when Jacqueline's being forced to drink the poison.
Yeah,
like
I forgot that was the same chick.
Yeah, same chick.
More than friends, absolutely more than friends.
Yeah, because she does starts crying, and she eventually goes against the cult that she's in.
Yeah.
It's such a weird cult where they're a non-violent cult, but if you break the rules and tell people that they exist, you must die, but we won't kill you.
Somebody tried to make that point. It didn't go well.
It was just weird, but I'm like, all right, fine. The movie's called The Seventh Victim, but the other 6 victims are not in this movie.
No, they're dead.
But they didn't even mention them, did they?
They make a comment about it happening 6 times before.
Yeah. That's it. We didn't get to know them. We didn't get to know their names or nothing.
No. Barely got to know anybody's name.
This movie does not have time to fuck around with anything. Here's a person. Oh shit, they're dead. Here's something going on over here. Wait, here's a new guy. Oh my god, this guy's in love. Oh shit, the other guy's in love too. Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, but just weird. Like, you have a poet that she knows that she talks to, or Mary, the main character, that's just there, and he's around throughout most of the movie, but he knows the cult or something, and there's a guy doing a magic card trick for no reason at all, and I'm just like, what is this movie?
1940s.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I took it. I was just trying to appreciate it for the fact that I've never seen something this old, and just to appreciate the way that what they did it for the time.
One thing I can definitely liken this to is this is very similar to, well, not completely similar, but it's a precursor to the type of films that David Lynch makes.
Oh.
Where things just happen. There's no reason, there's no rhyme. It just happens, and people deal with the consequences.
I've never watched a David Lynch film, I don't think, either.
I don't think I have.
Oh, you should. Like, David Lynch makes some wonderful movies that not everything makes sense. Sometimes the situations are very outlandish, but half the fun is seeing how weird things get.
I know of him. I don't think I've ever actually sat down and watched his product.
Well, that's rude.
But I'm trying to change it. That's been one of my things this year because of this podcast, and I'm going to go in next year where I'm going to try to broaden my horizons more.
Are we doing another movies Mike's never seen, Paul?
No.
Why not?
I don't want to do that again.
Fun.
That's hard. So,
okay.
I don't know. I don't want to.
You haven't seen a lot.
I know, but still. Hey, we got a poster to scratch off. We'll do that.
All year.
I mean, pick a movie, guys. Wood box. I don't know. Sometimes it's nice having a object tell you what to do because, like, again, it introduced me to something that I never would have seen before. This.
Yeah, because you don't listen to what I tell you to do.
You wouldn't have told me to see this either.
You wouldn't have said this one either.
You would have been like, "Hey, let's go see Child's Play 2. You need to see Chucky and Tiffany. That's what you need to see. Chucky's Bride. Like, there's some quality A cinema right there for you." Like,
is in there.
I know.
That's all I care about.
I wouldn't have even known about this movie if it wasn't for the poster. So for that, I'm thankful.
I'm surprised a little bit. Not that much when I found it from 1940s. I was like, oh, okay, that was fair. I was not expecting it to be a 1940s. When she scratched it off and we looked it up, it was like 1943. I'm like, what the fuck? It was just interesting to me. Like, just everything, the way the stuff looked, the diners they go to. I don't know. It was just something that was very romantic about that time to see it. Because it's not a time I see in anything but documentaries. And this was essentially, it was filmed at the time. So it was cool. I appreciated it for that. And I did appreciate that it was a very subtle horror movie, that it's trying to scare the viewer, but subtly, which I do. And apparently there's a shower scene in this movie, but apparently there was a joke that the YouTuber I was said this might have inspired Alfred Hitchcock when he makes Psycho like 20 years later.
It was very similar, but it was very awkward at the same time.
What do you mean? She's just taking a shower and a random person just walks to the bathroom and says, "Excuse me."
Through a see-through shower curtain. Close to a see-through shower curtain.
I'd rather have a with a knife instead. I was waiting for that to happen.
That's an interesting possibility that could have inspired Hitchcock. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, because Val Lewton's horror movies were very influential, even back then.
I'm sure a man like him had saw something like this.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
I like Alfred Hitchcock movies, actually.
I want to give it up for Gene Brooks in this movie. In that black wig, hello, proto-goth.
The hair.
Awful hair.
Like, that hair is straight up Betty Page.
Yes.
Like, it's absolutely wild. And that's like the fur that she's wearing, the black wig with the very razor sharp bangs.
Oh, the bangs,
it is
man.
Very much giving hard goth energy.
I didn't catch that. But then again, when I think of goth, my goth is much different than that. But that's fair.
All I could see was a horrible wig. I just didn't.
Well, that's because you watch a certain show with a lot of wigs and men who pull off really good drag. So I think after watching all that, you become much more critical of wigs.
Who, me?
Yes, you have. RuPaul made you critical of wigs.
Okay, fine.
Because I don't remember you ever watching a movie and go, "Hey, I don't like that wig," before RuPaul. Now you're like, "Well, they didn't use their wig glue, did they? They didn't cinch there either. Like, yeah." So,
I love you, RuPaul.
Yeah, that show altered how you look at certain things, as you now have a more eye to it. But that's neither here nor there. No, but I thought she did a good job. Movie. The actress did fine. I mean, it does. She brings. I mean, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I think she did fine. Like, entertaining enough. It was just weird.
Well, it doesn't hurt that while doing this movie, Gene Brooks' life was kind of falling apart and she was depressed.
Oh, that does help.
It's unfortunate,
It is unfortunate.
But just help with it if you're trying to play a part, if you're going through the same trauma of some sort. Like, it will help you portray because you're showing your raw feelings.
Yeah.
Not a good thing, but, I mean, it will help you make a product that will then live in history or be on a horror movie poster that someone will scratch off 80 years later. So, hey.
And, her character of Jacqueline in this movie goes through with just, like, a blank face most of the time. Like, she's just kind of going through the motions, essentially.
I thought at first she was going to be a silent character.
You thought it was going to be a silent movie.
Who, me?
Yeah, that was your first comment when the movie started. This is not going to be a silent film, is it? And then there was talking, and you're like, I'm like, nope, it's not a silent film, babe.
But I was reading something about this movie that basically Val Lewton's movies have a message that death is good. And I was trying to figure out, like, all right, so how does that work with this movie? But then at the end, you get a character, Mimi, who was literally just oh, hi, Mimi, before this scene. And then you get her talking about how she's sick. She's dying. But she's going to go out and she's going to go have fun. She's going to do the things she used to do. And right after that, Jacqueline goes to the room with the chair and the noose. And you hear the chair crash to the floor. And you make an assumption.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's more about, like, death is about living, or life is about living and not surviving.
Oh, that's depressing.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, the outcome for all of us will be the same at some point. Like, it's just part of life. Like, you just have to make peace with that eventually.
So they say.
Well, maybe you don't have to make peace. You don't have to make peace. Either way, you have to. You don't have a choice, but you accept it one way or the other. But or not accept it. Still coming.
Still not sure. I'm really gonna try not to die, and we'll see what happens there.
Well, hey, maybe you just got to go find some moody guy at a bar who's talking with his sister, and maybe he'll let you live forever.
I don't know.
Sad man.
That'd be cool.
I feel like you see death, and you go, oh, hi, baby, and following her. Where are we going?
Be like, hey, baby.
How you doing?
Oh, Sandman is so fucking good.
Maybe I should read it.
You should. It's the whole all the volumes are right there to the right of you, baby. You can read all of them. Damn good books.
Okay,
and then go back and listen to all 10 episodes of Games for
You're so funny.
I have a better chance of her doing a lot of other things than I do of her actually listening to a single episode of this podcast.
Doing a lot of other things.
Reading, there's a 10% chance. Get her to read the whole thing. So
once the show comes out, I'll watch that. If it's coming out for season 2.
Someday.
It is.
Someday.
I'm all for it.
They're working on it.
Slowly.
I did appreciate in this film the way the lighting was. That they were going for a lot of like dark shadows and just that feeling of... Which apparently I didn't realize this until, well, you two told me. This is one of the early noir films.
Mm-hmm. Which,
Ken, you had told me you did want us to watch more noir films on this podcast.
I did, but not like this. Although, as far as noirs goes, this is not the worst example. No,
this wasn't bad. Like, it was fine. I feel like I watched a different noir movie that I despised more recently. I can't remember.
What?
There was some noir movie that I was bitching about, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't remember watching a movie.
No, but I was on a podcast and I bitched about it. And Ken was there, but I can't remember what it was.
Ken has no idea.
Was it Dirty Harry?
No, I like Dirty Harry. I was like, there's something I was bitching about, but I can't remember anymore.
You bitch about a lot of things.
No, Dirty Harry was good, though.
Okay.
I've recorded a a of episodes recently.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. After a while, they all bleed together. You don't know what's what anymore.
Poor Ken. Welcome. You're working on overtime, but not even paid either.
Whatever. I do this for the love of the game.
Okay. Sure.
Sometimes I gotta say, anytime I introduce you or Bill to something new, I'm blown away with certain stuff. Like when you watch Dirty Harry for the first time, and I was like, wow.
None of y'all had seen Dirty Harry?
Nope.
I had, but that was it. That was strange that I was the one that had seen it. I don't remember. Maybe Bill had seen it. I can't remember now. But it always makes me happy when I introduce somebody for something the first time.
Yeah, it doesn't work as well with you.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this movie really is beautiful. Like the deep shadows here are just great. This also has a night walk, which is one of the big parts of any Val Lewton movie. There's always a scene where somebody is stalked at night by something.
Oh,
I like that scene. I did laugh though when he pulls out the switchblade instead of a gun.
Yeah, it was a really good scene. And there's apparently the movie doesn't really tell you whether or not that dude was hired by the cult. I'm pretty sure he was.
That's how I took it.
But, I thought it was interesting. And then thinking about the depression angle more, just having her depression stalk her through the streets like that, running and trying to, hang out with friends and go to the bar to avoid your depression.
I didn't think about that. But yeah, I mean, she doesn't even go in the bar either. Like, she follows the actors, and one guy's Julius Caesar, which I thought was kind of comical. Yeah. And then she just wanders off somewhere else.
Right, because you lost interest in it because it's not actually helping.
What do you mean? Drinking doesn't help?
Sure it does.
No. It actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, fun fact, Ken, I saw a map that apparently over 40 of the drunkest counties were all in one state.
Yes. I saw that map too.
I sent it to my dad in Milwaukee.
On Wisconsin, baby.
But yeah, that's cool. I mean, having that little touch of just showing that, yes, very subtly, but drinking will not help your depression.
Yeah. And if you're super depressed, you can't just fix it with hanging out with people. This is something that you have to deal with. It's a pretty solid movie about mental health, which was definitely not the case during the 40s. They didn't make movies like that.
I mean, it's still even up to recently, it's still been pretty taboo. People just do not talk about mental health. I mean, I think as a culture, we're getting better now, but in the 90s, it was still I remember being a kid oh, man it up. No.
You said that?
No.
Oh.
You said to me.
Okay.
I'm sure I've said dumb shit too. Now I don't, but I'm sure I said.
Got smacked hard for saying that.
Oh, I'm sure I said dumb shit.
We all say dumb shit, but we get better.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But it's just, some people don't, but it's just, to really think about that, you are right, the 1940s to be talking about mental health and suicide and having, as it put in the Wikipedia, the homoerotic undertones, that's impressive and progressive for a time when the country is very conservative. I mean, the 1943, this is, I can't remember when do we get into World War II? I think it's 44.
Somewhere in there.
It's very close. I mean,
let me go ask George.
World War II has already started at this point because 1940 is when he invades Poland, but I can't remember when D-Day is and when Pearl Harbor is. But
it's weird. You have a thing right in front of you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you have two things right in front of you.
Yeah, I have a phone and a computer, but I don't want to type. I'm trying to go through my memory banks up here to see what I know. But no, so I always try to look at what's going on in the world at a time because that affects the culture.
The United States entered World War II on December 8th, 1941.
Okay, I was off. 44, maybe 44 is when the war ends.
45. 39, it says it starts.
Yes, but when does Germany might leave the war in 44 after Hitler decides to take the easy way out?
Hey, you know what? If anything, we just have been talking about how suicide is a complex thing.
And then I go and make that dumb comment? Yes, I agree. But I mean,
I agree too.
To be fair, he was a horrible person that deserved to be. Well, he knew what was coming when the Russians got there.
He was the B word.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to be probably cut into pieces while alive, so it wasn't going to be pretty.
Yeah,
Russians would have tore him apart.
Yeah, but he's dead, and we're all the better for it now.
But no, I just like to kind of think about the context of what's going on at times, and that's what got me thinking of what year.
And I hadn't even thought about the war because I have zero grasp of history. I didn't remember when we entered the war.
Well, to be fair, I also was watching World War II in color earlier today.
In color?
In color, baby. They actually have old footage from the war, from the Germans and the British and the French, that they then redid and put in color, and I love World War II stuff so much.
I need to meet George someday.
So I just want to go. If I could, I would love to go to Russia where they stopped Germany. There's a barrier that they built as a monument there. I would love to see it. That will never happen in my lifetime, more than likely, but because I don't think going to Russia as an American is a good idea. But I would love to see that.
Take a breath.
So, all right.
Lions say you're Canadian.
Well, the passport might not work out very well. Yeah, that's just one of those things I think about. I do want to also go to some of the other countries where World War II happened and there's old bases and just see some of that stuff. But that's neither here nor there.
That's going to be the first time we leave the country. He's like, I'm so excited.
No, I couldn't do that to you.
Visit these history
you wouldn't be okay
places.
with me, so it's not happening.
an Uber or whatever.
All right,
in that country.
Anything else you should say about this movie?
I just wanted to say that this movie was not necessarily well received when it first came out.
It bombed, actually, what I saw.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not super surprised.
But
it was a different time. So
but I'm assuming the fact that she was like, we're intimate. They're like, oh my God, they're trying to brainwash our children.
Children aren't going to go watch this.
Yeah, some one cinema proprietor in South Carolina said we must have been the 8th victim. Patrons walked out. Business poor. Like, okay, that's just funny.
That is funny.
It is.
But over the years, this movie has gotten a really big reappraisal by the cinema community. And nowadays, it's very well thought of. We touched on it real quick. I just wanted to talk about that satanic cult again.
Please.
Because they were just the worst.
They were just a bunch of rich people. They weren't even worshiping the devil.
Well, no, they were. They absolutely were, because there was that whole speech at the end, which was a great speech. Like with the guy is getting at the end, like, who are you to tell me to, what's good or evil?
I did like that.
That was a good speech.
I don't recall it.
And
you were done.
Interestingly enough, not in the quotes section on IMDb.
I mean, it was a good little speech, and he's like, and again, we'll find out one way or the other from right or wrong, but you won't be there when we find the idea.
Yeah,
I like that with religion. I remember a friend of mine as an atheist who said, "Hey, it's either I'm right and nothing happens, or I'm wrong and I'm screwed." But we won't know until if I am right, I can't tell you I told you so.
Hey, I'm going to heaven. Donna said so.
So, I did like it. I was just I just wanted satanic candles of the goat demon or something.
Yeah, as far as satanic cults go, these guys were pretty toothless.
Philip the goat.
It looked like they were just worshiping the dollar, which is that's fair enough for satanic. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, considering that the Paladists were supposedly infiltrating the Freemasons, you're not wrong.
So you telling me there were a bunch of Templars?
I mean, if it was actual and not a hoax made up and perpetrated for years, yeah.
I just think it's just hilarious that it was an actual, I just thought they just made up something and threw it in this movie, that it was actually something, that was in pop culture. I mean, not pop culture, but something that was in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, which, man, I think that was the best thing about this movie for me, honestly.
I wish I could have seen that. Just you going, and running up and getting a book. It just sounds so cool.
I was so happy in that moment that one of my Kickstarter purchases finally paid off.
Was your wife around to make a comment?
No.
Oh.
No, unfortunately not. But things wouldn't have said anything. They would have been like, yeah, you got a weird book and it turned out to be important to your films. I'm not surprised.
Congratulations.
And they know.
I have so many books on film, you guys.
No, that makes sense. I mean, you love film. That's why I'm so happy to talk about movies with you, and even movies that we're not the target audience, but it's something that's still important to the horror films and history. I mean, it is still an important film when you think about the fact that it's the first psychological horror movie is an early noir film. It's the first of this director.
You're just throwing around these new words.
I am. And it also, I like the fact that it's one of the early movies to have, homoerotic undertones. Yeah, it makes me happy because, again, it's not like it's something new that people not hear about Greece, ancient Greece. Come on now.
That's the line. If I prefer to believe in satanic majesty and power, who can deny me? That's a hard fucking line.
But also, I mean, it fits the time, that people would be that upset about it. I mean, I guess people still get upset. I could care less. Okay, cool. Worship whoever the fuck you want. I don't care. But, well, I mean, I don't. But I remember, I can understand it because I know when I was younger and dumber, I had, looked down at other religions. No, way long ago. I remember looking down at other religions. I remember going, how can you worship this fake God? I'm like, no, who's to say who cares?
I was like, we're not going to go into it.
No, but I mean, I did it one time. I had that mindset. I learned and I grew and I went, no, you're stupid, Mike. And that was the end of that.
I like when you said that.
But,
you're stupid.
So there was another thing I was thinking about too in this movie. And I feel like having a satanic cult probably would have been terrifying to someone in the 1940s.
Yeah.
And some people now.
I mean, maybe that's why they also were the eighth victim. It might not even been the gay undertones. It might have just been the fact that they said the devil, we're cursed. We gotta go home and get on our knees.
That reminds me, I want to touch on something real quick.
Please.
The guy that played Gregory Ward, Jacqueline's husband, Hugh Beaumont is the actor's name.
Why does that name sound familiar?
He played Ward Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver.
Shut up.
Oh, that don't mean anything to me, but all right.
It does to me. Shut up, really? Oh, that's funny.
Like, that made me happy. I was like, hey, that's cool.
That is cool.
My God, that guy did a lot of movies.
You've never seen Leave It to Beaver?
I've seen a couple episodes of it.
Okay, so he plays the dad.
I don't like black and white stuff. This is probably the third movie. This is the third movie I've ever watched in my life that's a black and white film.
Wow, we need to...
Night of the Living Dead, Psycho, and now this.
Ken, we need to expand his horizons.
I'm a firm believer in that, absolutely.
Well, if the poster tells me to, it'll happen.
What's wrong with you not seeing black and white?
I didn't even watch movies from the 80s. I don't know. I don't know why.
When I was little, I watched Shirley Temple movies, and The Little Princess was my favorite. And then they remade it, which was okay, but I like the Shirley Temple.
I just don't think I was introduced to that because that's not what my father watched. And so much of my early movies and TV was what my father liked. So that was just...
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, and that's what it was. And it was a lot of action movies I think he would put on or just random stuff. It wasn't horror movies because I was terrified and I think...
Dinosaurs.
I was. And my mother would have gotten mad at him.
Never gonna let them.
So I don't think horror movies are ever really his thing either. Even today, he's not into horror movies. So that's partly why I think I was against it.
All right. So some fun connections. Kim Hunter, the one who plays Mary. This was her first movie.
Oh.
I think that.
She would later go on to play Zira in the original Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
With Charlton Heston.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Mike was so looking.
I've seen that movie. I've seen all the Planet of the Apes movies, actually. All the old ones. So, like, Kim Hunter has a pretty good career, too. Not, a lot of huge names in this movie, but, it's pretty fun. I enjoyed it. Mark Robson would go on to direct some stuff, too. Not a whole ton, but he did direct Peyton Place, which I think he won an Oscar for, or was nominated for an Oscar for. I know of it.
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
He's done some stuff. Let's see. He also did Von Ryan's Express, Valley of the Dolls, famously written by Roger Ebert, which is a movie that is bad. It's bad.
That's funny.
But
Roger Ebert, I never know he actually worked in the movies. I thought he was just a critic. No, I mean I didn't know.
No, I mean like he wrote one movie.
Oh, okay.
And it was this one.
So then he quit after that, or what?
I was looking up one of the actors in this movie because he looked familiar, but then I saw he died the following year in war.
Oh, the poet.
Yeah. I was like, this guy looks familiar. And I'm like, oh, no, I do not know him or anything else.
I'm sorry. Roger Ebert wrote Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. My mistake.
I feel like they quote that in RuPaul a lot.
Probably.
Why?
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Okay. And apparently the editor worked on Citizen Kane, who worked on this movie, too.
Boo.
Never seen Citizen Kane.
You're not a fan, Ken?
Nope.
Okay, we might have to go to that one then.
Like, I can appreciate Citizen Kane for everything that it did. Historically, it was a very important movie. Quality-wise, nah. Miss me with that bullshit. Plus, I have personal beef against Orson Welles.
Oh, dear. What?
Orson Welles was born in a small town in Wisconsin, and he talked a whole lot of shit about it in his later years. And you know what? You don't get to talk shit about Kenosha if you leave. He was born in Kenosha, Wisconsin, my hometown.
I talk shit about Milwaukee.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But, like, you're not famously talking shit about it. He was famously talking shit about it.
I am not famous, unfortunately.
Someday, babe.
Yeah, I don't believe that, but sure. I mean, I can guarantee. I'm pretty confident the show I will still be doing this in 20 years. I'm pretty confident of that. I love it.
Fortunately, I'm confident of that as well.
Will I be famous from it? No, but I'll still be doing it. Hey, I was jealous. I was watching a D.B. Cooper documentary earlier today, and there was a guy on there who they interviewed who was a fucking podcaster. I'm like, but
Get your shit together and promote yourself better.
I mean, it helps when you do a subject that, you're the only one of the fewer people it helps.
Oh, who is that?
I don't know, D.B. Cooper. They're not. I mean, how much can you talk about a guy who did one incident?
I don't know.
He robbed the plane and disappeared.
Yeah, he got away with a lot of money.
$200,000 in 1971.
Pretty good.
So yeah, and never been solved yet, and never will be.
Yep.
So because different time and there's no evidence.
That's all I got about this.
Okay, I don't think I have anything else. Anything you want to say, Tiffany, while you're playing your puzzles?
I have been present and focused. This helps me focus.
I understand. So does snapping. For me.
So does napping?
Snapping. Marvel Snap. It's a joke. Yeah, napping doesn't help me focus.
No, that's all I have to say.
Okay. Let's go to Shelf Stacker Box. And I'm going to go first. I'm going to put this in the stack. I didn't hate this. I actually kind of liked it. It wasn't bad. It was just a different time. And I'm like, this is all right. Like, it wasn't bad. This was more entertaining than some movies about a witch in the Northeast. So, yes. I mean, this was fine.
You played Marvel Snap through that whole damn movie.
Because I knew it was fake, damn it. What? I need to go back to, when was that movie come out, 2001? And watch it the day it comes out when I don't know it's fake. Then it would have been terrifying.
I always knew it was fake.
But a lot of idiots did not.
Okay, sorry, Ken's annoyed with
So, going to the stack. What about you, Tiffany?
I think I'll put it on the shelf.
What?
I meant the stack. I get confused.
Is this your first time on the show, babe?
Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm not focusing clearly. I'm the stack. It wasn't awful, like Mike said. I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much as he did. But
no, but you like horror movies when people are cut into pieces and
more action. It was too slow for me.
You know what? I'm probably gonna be more okay with this than the movie we're gonna watch next time for this poster and some point. Wouldn't you agree, Ken?
No comment. That's
we're watching a French horror film at some point. I mean, it'll be a bit when you hear this, because I got a bunch of other horror movies to come out first, and record. But that's coming at some point. And Ken, what about you?
I am going to put this on the stack.
All right.
If it was fleshed out a little bit more, like, as I said at the beginning, there were 4 big scenes that were cut out of this movie and a longer ending. I feel like this movie moved too quickly. It glossed over a lot of stuff that it probably shouldn't have. But what is there works. And it's a movie I'm sure I'll watch again at some point. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to pick up the Criterion Blu-ray of this, and I Walked with a Zombie. But I don't know if it's something that I'm going to be going back to a lot.
No, that's fair. I mean, I don't think you need to go back to it. I think it's one of those things where it can live in your collection, or it can be something that you just, now it's something that you've seen, and you could randomly, it might come up in conversation, maybe.
And you can say, I've seen that.
Yes. Or somebody will convince you to do a podcast recording on it. Hey.
And I could say, I already did.
How many people can say that?
Let's do it again.
I feel like this is probably one of those movies where we probably are in the very, 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 very minority of who have covered this film.
Ooh, maybe it'll become famous now. No, I don't.
I think I'm running out of things to say.
Oh my god.
I know, they don't happen every day. So,
Don't ever happen. You talk to it.
What I do. But I do want to say that, I did mention it earlier, and I'm going to mention it again, the fact that having this poster and having it expose me to 100 different horror movies, and so far we have scratched off 3, one that is not recorded yet, that it's just something I never saw before. Never saw Jaws until that poster. I appreciate that, and that's really nice.
Where are you again? I can't remember.
I make you laugh. So, yeah, I mean, just sometimes chances is like that, and having something tell you to do something can get you to have new experiences. So, what I'm trying to say is maybe you should go buy a scratch-off poster of something that you like. Hey, could be fun. Get you to read books that you haven't read, or
do not buy
watch
them
comics.
on Amazon, because they say what it is on the bottom before you scratch it off.
Oh, that's no fun. The fun is being surprised. Well, then I just wouldn't scratch off some of that. I would not have scratched off that French horror film had I known what it was beforehand.
You would have gotten there eventually.
Eventually.
99 bottles of beer on the wall.
99 horror movies on the wall.
Yeah, that's what it would have been. What? All right. And Ken, where can people find you at?
You can find me at my writings of film at kennethsanity.wordpress.com. You can find me on Twitter. You can also find me on my new film podcast, which will be coming out before the end of 2024. More details as they emerge.
All right.
Ooh, I'm going to listen to his podcast.
I believe that. You don't listen to the one your husband makes, but hey.
I hear your voice enough. Why do I need to hear it anymore?
Gets me the downloads, baby.
Look, that's cheating.
No,
I only did that once for you and decided never to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, right. And if you enjoyed this episode, over 650 other episodes of this podcast, you can find everything we do on Podbean. We have a whole catalog. We do movies, comics, TV shows. So go check out our giant history of content. If you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon, Little Dog. Vote in our Patreon poll, and we do have a Discord. Please join our Discord. You can chat with us if you want to be on the show. That is how to do it. I post in there, and people can join. So definitely go check that out. And we're going to shout out my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena. You can follow at Hell Hasfer. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram, and you will see a link to her link tree in the show notes. And when you shout out to Bill Tucker, the Gamer Looks At For, definitely go check out his podcast also. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, audio only. We can find on all those different platforms. And I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So long.